You are live. We are live. Yes, officially live. Let's see on the old double screen here if we are up. We are now live a few seconds ago. Oh, that was horrifying. I had three voices in my head from all these screens. It was my own voice telling me I was live. Outstanding. All right. Well, good evening, afternoon. We're on the East Coast. You're on the East Coast still, right?
East Coast, yep.
Up in the Northeast, the good old Northeast. We've got Jillian Thelen with us, Warrior PATHH alumni from the Travis Mills Foundation. We've got the Travis Mills Foundation, beautiful sunset from the Travis Mills Foundation in our background. We're reminiscing about the time on that property there. Beautiful property in Rome, Maine. If you say it too fast, it sounds like you're talking about lettuce. Romaine. But it's actually in Rome, Maine. Beautiful property. Elizabeth Arden's old estate with the red door and everything. And what a better place to go do Warrior PATHH at a place where Elizabeth Arden built for her friends to come and literally kind of detox and take a knee and take off the lady who helps people put on a mask, literally and figuratively, had a place for her friends to come take a knee and take off their mask. And it's a great opportunity for and a great partnership with the Travis Mills Foundation to run Warrior PATHH there year round. Great team there. And Jillian, you came through class 2. Is that right? If I remember correctly?
Yes. First women's class. Class 2, I believe, August of last year.
Every time I think of your name, your team name, I want to say like a Yaya Sisterhood, but I know it's not. It's a Badass Sister Mates, right?
It is. It's a Sister Mates, yeah.
Badass. Randa's on. She said, so nice to see your faces. Mac's on. She said, hi, guys. Hey. Robert. Somebody else who's a Facebook user. Shannon is a Facebook user. So if you're logging on to this and it says allow StreamYard to use your name, that always helps because otherwise you look like it just says Facebook user on these screens. So it can be hard to know who's saying what. But now that all the administrative things are out of the way, let's chit chat. Okay. I would love to know, just give the crowd, give the audience, give the people a little debrief on a backstory. What got you to Warrior PATHH in August of last year?
Okay, so story starts a very long time ago, but I am not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. Many moons ago. So I was diagnosed with anxiety, depression well before I entered the military. I was actually in law school at the time. It was October of 2007, so about 13 and a half years ago. But then I finished law school, wound up going into the military and whatnot. Got out of the military, gave birth. I wound up suffering from serious, postpartum depression. And then from there, a series of, international moves following my then husband around because he was still in the military, which culminated in, a divorce. So there was like all these things that were, just kind of building and building and building, stuff that I had never really addressed because having, dealt with it for over a decade, I was like, I'm not going back to therapists and said nothing works. And so I was in a really, really like dark, ugly place. And I found myself, it was 2018. So this was even before I reached out to PATHH. 2018, I don't have a job. I'm living back with my mom. My son's 2, I'm newly separated, headed toward a divorce. And I was just like so angry, just angry all the time. I tried to take steps to external steps to make things better. So, getting the job that I have now, I'm a lawyer for the government, more about that later. But so getting the job that I have now in order to make the money to get my son and myself into our own home, away from family. So we have a little place to call our own. You would think that those kinds of things would make me feel better, but it just didn't, because I was like, well, great. Now I'm really all on my own and still really, and just kind of stewing in it for such a long time. But I want to say it was January of 2020. So it was right before COVID hit. I was doing research because I was like really getting to a dark place. And I found there was a program down in Texas that helped warriors, combat veterans. But one of the main focuses was substance abuse and like recovery. And because I didn't have substance abuse issues, I didn't necessarily like qualify to go to that program. But I said, listen, like I'm really hurting. Is there any place that you can, tell me about? And the person on the line was so nice. And they're like, yeah, you need to reach out to Warrior PATHH. There's this place called Boulder Crest in Virginia. You need to reach out to them. And so I immediately hung up the phone with them, found it online, submitted my application. And within just a few days, Kyle Amesbury had reached out to me, and we did my interview over the phone. It took like an hour or so. And I was like, just like, so raw, just like spewing it all out there. Poor Kyle. But I think that's what happens when everyone does their interviews.
Yeah.
And he was like, Jillian, this is great. Like you're a great fit for this. But unfortunately, we just had our women's program last week. So we're not going to be able to get you in until October. But like, keep your head up and like stay in contact with me. And so for me, even just being able to talk to him was like, okay, there's a light at the end of this tunnel. I will get some help at some point in time. And then it just so happens that there was an opening. Travis Mills at the time in January 2020 wasn't doing Warrior PATHH, but by that summer they were. And so James, the director up at Travis Mills, had reached out and said, hey, we're going to run a women's class, but it's in like 3.5 weeks. Can you come? And I said, give me 24 hours to secure childcare and I will be there in 24 hours. I'm like, I'm coming. And so that's essentially how I wound up getting to Warrior PATHH up in Maine.
And it's I'm sure any of the PATHH alumni that are listening on the Warrior PATHH Facebook group can relate to what you're talking about, that you make a connection. And what we talk about a lot, especially on the guides side of the table, is reminding everybody that PATHH really starts with that first phone call, with that first connection with whatever guide you're talking to, and the relationship leading into Warrior PATHH and the work that starts really begins with that phone call and the connection that's made there, and it leads the way into whichever program you end up attending. We've got now we've got 8. When you came through, Travis Mills was our latest partner, and then we have added South Carolina and Arkansas. Big Red Barn Retreat in South Carolina and the Sheepdog Impact Assistance in Arkansas since you've been through, and it's the same across the board, right? That first phone call is like, holy cow, I can't believe I just said all those things to somebody I've never met before, and it kind of felt good, and now I'm excited to go, and I'm nervous, and there's all the mixed emotions about just getting through the gate, right? And something else you said I've heard so many times, and it speaks to something we talk about in PATHH, is that you can't solve spiritual problems with material solutions, right? You can't buy a house and a car and a pick a country song, right? The cow's the heart, the dog, the land, the beer. Yeah. It's not going to solve it, right? And the difference, I think, and I know with this community, with your community, with the Warrior community, is you go past that. You don't just sit with it like, well, this is as good as it's going to get. It's like, no, there's something beyond this, and you keep searching. You specifically kept searching until you found something that was tangible that you could dive into. So talk about, if you would, kind of getting through the gate there, because there actually is a gate. Not connected on either side, but there is a gate. But getting through that gate and going through what was going through those 7 days like for you?
Okay, so starting with the ride up, so I drove because I'm just about a little over 2 hours south of Travis Mills down in Massachusetts. So when I drove there, luckily my son had been away like with his dad, so I didn't really have to worry about him. So it was really the first time since I had him that I was just focusing purely on me. I had taken the time off of work. I had told all of my family, like, this is where I'm going. Here's the director's phone number if you need to reach me, because I'm not answering my phone. And so I just kind of unplugged for the week. And it was really amazing. When I was driving up, I remember, because it was a 2-hour drive, I remember just kind of like having this like talk, not like beating myself up, but having this talk with myself that everything else that I have tried, whether it be working with a therapist, whether it be working with a chaplain when I was in the military, or a family life counselor, or having medication, not having medication, like nothing worked. And I was kind of almost like putting all of my eggs in this final basket to be like, if this doesn't work, then I don't know what will. But I needed to completely change my attitude before I even got there. And so I thought to myself on the ride, there's this quote, and to be honest, I'm not like Josh. I can't just like name.
Nobody is. Nobody is.
There's this quote that says, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. And for me, that was, if I approach this very closed off, very closed-minded, like still angry, still, I have to take on the world by myself, and, you know, in that kind of victim type mentality, this is not going to work. I need to just be open. And it's really hard for me because I suffer from like really bad anxiety, but on the ride up there, I was like prepping myself. Like, you need to be open. You need to be honest. Just take every opportunity that you can. Don't like over worry about it ahead of time. The fact that we don't have a schedule there, like for the first day drove me crazy. But then after that, it was like a godsend, because then I didn't have time to worry about like, oh my God, I'm visiting the horses. Like, I'm terrified. What do you mean I'm visiting the horses?
Right.
So getting through first was the change in attitude of just being open-minded and taking advantage of whatever was put in front of me. The second was that because I had felt like I had been doing so much by myself all along, like I always felt just kind of like on this island by myself. I'm like, I didn't need anyone. I didn't need teammates. I didn't have a lot of friends. That was okay with me. I didn't need friends. And when I got there, I was like, no, I need these women. These women need me. And it's been so incredibly amazing. I remember, and a couple of people have, you know, commented it throughout the time we were at PATHH, but even after that, like from the very first night, like we hadn't even been introduced to any of you guys yet. And we were all just, you know, laughing and chatting up in the dining room. And we have spoken with each other every single day since we left. Our team is like, I can't even say enough about them. And I know they're on. Hi, ladies, I miss you. We all just spoke on Sunday. We had our weekly, well, it's like every other week now, but we group text every single day. So having the team and being like as cohesive as we were, as quickly as we were, and being open to all of that and not being judgmental or anything, the way I know with, I'm not trying to say like all women are like that, but there's, you know, some women are, you know, there can be like this sense of like competition or something, but we didn't have any of that. And it was amazing. And then of course, you know, our mentor, you and Josh, all the guys, Gary, Harry, Jerry, you know, Danielle, it's just been like, James, and like for you guys to have shared what you went through and for us to see where because everyone was like in a different step along their journey, but everyone started in the same spot. That was huge for us. And the fact that there was this shared past, shared experiences, we like instantaneously trusted everyone that this is a safe place. We can open up. And I had never had that before. I was just so used to just sitting and like talking at someone instead of experiencing stuff with people. So that's what got me through.
You definitely have quite the team. Max said you are stuck with us, so she's reaffirming that you are stuck with us. But I distinctly remember coming in the front door of the house and just kind of seeing all of you guys at the dining room tables in the kitchen, which is just adjacent to the front door of this house, and all the guys had gotten you settled, and they're like, you know, it's newer right at that point in time, and it's like, is this what normally happens? Like, sometimes, but knowing and being involved in Warrior PATHH for the last 6 years, it's like, oh, this is going to be a fun one here. They are already like cackling up there together. They are thick as thieves, and we ain't even got to dinner yet. This is going to be good.
We were all week.
And it was fun to watch that. And oh yeah, I'll never forget the morning of day 6 and the arts and crafts you guys pulled together.
We still have them.
That's that's one of those moments that's like, I don't know, it's not an every path type of thing, but I have used that in training path guys and standing up teams. Like, this is what's possible during this module. Like, you never know what might happen, because here's what happened once. And it's one of those memories that is so awesome in relationship to Warrior Path. The way you guys did what you did on that morning. I cannot talk about it and not smile, because it was hilarious.
That literally came up. We were like, it was probably our last like 30 to 45 minutes with Terry out songwriting around the campfire. And we were like, someone get James. Harry, can you go get James for us? Like, we have a request. And we just stayed up late that. It was just like a spontaneous thing, and it all came together. Everyone had a great laugh about it. That was awesome.
It was good. Yeah, you guys you made it a really great week for yourselves. You made it a really great week with each other and for each other. And I know you guys have been on it ever since, talking constantly and putting in the work. So what's it been like since? What's the change look like for you since leaving Warrior Path? How was that ride home? And then what does it look like since for you?
The ride home was good. I was really nervous. I think I'm not going to speak for everyone and say we were all really nervous, but I think a good amount of us were nervous about, oh my God, can I do this at home? Because the path group, the location, everything had become like a new safety blanket for us. And now we kind of had to take that off and like go out and do it on our own. Or so we thought. We haven't really had to do it on our own. We, like I said, before we even left on morning, like, I think it was like right after we took our group pictures and stuff. And then everyone's like, all right, got to clear out and stuff like that and start hitting the road. We had put out a text message with everyone's name, everyone's number. And it was like, all right, everyone, claim your number, say who you are. And we've literally been texting nonstop ever since. So coming back, there have been so many challenges that we as a group and as individuals have faced. There's been like within days, loss of loved pets. Within a month, it was loss of loved ones. Many of us have lost either friends or family. And then there's been, other family issues with kids, issues with health, like some really heavy stuff that pre-path we would have crumbled back into our old ways. Sure. So we have been there for one another, supporting one another, very non-judgmentally, whatever it is that you're going through, just lay it on us, just, get it out. And it's just been wonderful to have that support network, because that's something that I didn't have before, and where I felt like I was always having to, just do everything by myself. Now I realize it doesn't matter what is coming across my way, good, bad, or otherwise, they're there. And actually, right before I got on this call, there was a text from the girls like, hey, good luck, we're going to see you in a minute. So the support has been amazing. For my personal life, complete game changer. I don't know if you were in the module when we were doing it. I think it was after the second labyrinth, but I remember distinctly looking at the group and saying, this is what I want to do with my life. I have not completed day 6, let alone 18 months, but this is absolutely what I want to do with my life. And so I didn't know how, I didn't know when, what it would look like, nothing, but I was open to it. And so what was it, back in, mid-February, I was, at the point where I'm like, I'm ready to get rid of this job. This is, good government attorney is not all it's cracked up to be. And, it provides me with a good living. I will say that I'm blessed that, throughout the last year, especially with COVID, I have not been out of work. I'm able to telework. So I have been extremely lucky, but it's totally unrewarding and unfulfilling. And so I had reached out to you to say like, hey, I've looked, no one says they're hiring, kind of what's the inside scoop. And something that you probably didn't know was, I hadn't heard back from you. But by March 3rd, I said, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to quit, and I'm going to give myself until the end of June. So that gives them plenty of time to find a replacement for me. And again, I don't know who said it, because I'm not good like Josh with the quotes, but Josh quotes this one all the time. And it's, the cave you fear to enter holds the answer that you seek. And so for me, it was getting away from the safety blanket of this thankless yet well-paying job to go do something that I want. I just said, I'm going to take the plunge. And so I wrote up my resignation letter, submitted it. Less than 48 hours later, you sent me a message and said, where do you want to go? We have something for you. And I was just so overcome that, like, I feel like had I not taken that step, I didn't know if you were ever going to call or not. So my ability to actually start working as a guide down at Camp Southern Ground in Georgia, I've already been in contact with the directors down there. So hi Jen, if Jen's on, Jen might be on. I am so excited to get started with the training and then go visit them ahead of time. And then my first path is actually going to be female path. So I'm super excited about that, to be a female guide in front of other females, because that was one of my AAR comments was, I love Travis Mills. I loved everything about it. I wish we had, a female warrior mixed in with the guy. Danielle is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I did want to hear a story from a woman who, had gone through what we had gone through, and we could, chart her path. So, so in terms of my life, it's completely changed 180 since that. And I feel so lucky to have had that opportunity and to have really kind of taken the lessons to heart and really having done the work there, continuing to do the work at home. It's not easy, but I have a great support system, and I'm very thankful for that.
What do you think it is that has kept you guys together? What are you doing to maintain the relationship and the connection and the support and the accountability? And I have no doubt in my mind that you are busting each other's chops like on an hourly basis. What do you think it is with your group that you guys are doing? Because I know, and alumni that are watching may have experienced this. Not all teams have what you have with your team. And what do you think it is that's given you the connection and the success as a full team, everybody all in for, we're getting close to a year now.
Yeah, it'll be a year in August. To be honest, I can't say that what we're doing is better than what anyone else is doing, because I'm not a part of any other team. So I don't know that for sure, but I do know that we all showed up. We all, kind of made a promise to ourselves and each other that we were really going to seriously give this a shot, because nothing had worked for any of us, and all of us had struggled for so long. And then coming out of it, I think we all realized that we didn't want to lose what we had at Travis Mills when we went through PATHH. And the only thing we really could control, because now, one of the big lessons is focus on only that which you can control. And all we can really control is maintaining that relationship with one another. And it's just kind of been like an unspoken thing. I mean, we're not perfect. Not everybody, hears from everybody every day. Not everybody can attend every call. I've had to make calls. Other people have to, work and stuff gets in the way. But on the whole, we're always there. And we all know that, if something were to happen, we can just pick up the phone and you have 5 sisters who are going to have your back no matter what. I think it really just speaks to the bond that we formed while we were there. And because we were so vulnerable, because we allowed ourselves to be so vulnerable and to share, and that we were received by each other, which just such kindness and no judgment and, concern, that it's like, okay, I trust you. And so I can't say, because I haven't experienced any other paths, I don't know if that happens at everyone, or if people maybe, one of the things that has been said many times is this program is for people who are ready, able, and willing to give it a shot. If you're not open to it, it's not going to help you. And so I don't know if maybe there are some instances where people might show up and they're not really ready yet. But I know in our case, we all were. We were very much ready.
Randa, RJ said that complete trust in each other and no shame in our struggles is from her vantage point what's really kept you guys together. You mentioned COVID, the ever-present COVID, the bump in the road at the same time, great opportunity. Sorry, I keep looking this way because I have a 4-year-old who's almost licking my window over here at my office. What's up, buddy?
That's all right. I locked my 5-year-old out of my apartment and then they went away.
How did Warrior Path, the lessons from Warrior Path, navigating struggle with yourself and with your team, with your badass sister mates after Warrior Path, how did that help navigate COVID and making a decision to leave secure employment in the middle of the entire thing?
Yeah, I know. Not exactly, the decision that lots of people say, like, I'm just gonna quit my job, no problem. So for me, what COVID taught, because like I said, I was very fortunate that I did not have to suffer the devastating consequences financially, employment wise, or loss of loved ones to the pandemic. I have like my own little issues and stuff, but they weren't caused by, the pandemic. They were there long before. But what COVID really did was open, I think the fact that I was already on the path from Warrior Path to be open to new possibilities, and just reminding myself of, you have to be different. You have to do different in order to be different. I was then just really in tune with my own mortality, which sounds really kind of strange, but I swear this is a good thing. I'm not going to go down this morbid rabbit hole, but because of the devastation that the pandemic had across the board, and then people like warriors finding themselves in these kinds of situations and they're not getting the help, and then you hear about loss of life of our brothers and sisters in arms, and it's just horrible. It just kind of really got me thinking that I don't want to wait until I'm retired to then start living. Coupled with all of this, my mother lost her significant other of the last 15 years in December. And I do remember having a conversation with her just in February. I think it was like the week before I had reached out to you. And she was, had just said to me, I had all these plans. We had all of these plans for when we retired, and I'm within 5 years of retirement, and we're never going to do that. And I feel like, I'm approaching 60 and I'm not going to be able to live the life. I haven't even done half the stuff in my life that I wanted to do. And immediately I was just like, nope, I'm not going to wait until I'm almost 60 to start living. And I'm not going to teach my child to do that either. We need big changes. Now is the time. I mean, he and I have, because of the pandemic, been together for 22 hours a day for the last year, because he only goes to school 2 hours a day and I'm working from home. And then, I also have to be his teacher. And I just thought, we're co-located and we spend no quality time together because I'm always having to do something else. And I'm just not going to accept that in my life anymore. So focus on what I can control. Is I can control where I work. I can control how much quality time I spend with him. I can't control when I'm, when my time is going to come, but I can control to make the most of every day between now and then. And it's not punching a time clock or making a big paycheck. It's making a difference in people's lives and helping people, because that's the thing that's going to carry me through when I'm sitting on my deathbed worrying, did I have the amazing job, the amazing house, or did I have amazing relationships and was I able to help people? So for me, COVID was just a very big eye opener, not an existential crisis, but kind of, along those lines.
Right. I look at it, and I don't, you look at the devastation, you look at how many people have been sick, and everybody knows somebody that's been affected. Mm-hmm. And I can't help but look at it. I mean, the Facebook Live that we're on right now is a product of COVID. Is a product of knowing that our Warrior Path, our Boulder Crest, our Gary Sinise Foundation, Avalon Network community of warriors was not going to have contact. We weren't going to be running Warrior Path programs when this thing first kicked off, and it was like, we got to do something. So out of the the kind of chaos that it was creating for everybody came an opportunity to connect in a whole new way. And this was Anna Kavanaugh's idea to do this, and it's been really cool to see it come to life and see PATHH alumni from different programs, different states, all over the country connect with each other and share life and do life and share struggle and share your gratitude and share your wins and talk and put, post quotes and post pictures and post, all sorts of different things on a regular basis, on an everyday basis with each other, all the way down to when we first, went live with the group. Somebody got on and said, "Hey, I have a buddy who's struggling in Texas," and in 15 minutes, we found somebody just through people posting on Facebook. This is where I'm at. Hey, I know somebody. In 15 minutes, we found somebody within 5 miles of that person that was struggling, and they went to have a coffee with a Warrior PATHH alumni. Because of
amazing. That's amazing,
right? And you look back and go, okay, this opportunity may not have happened, especially in that profound a way, had it not been for the chaos of COVID.
Yep.
Right? And I think that's beyond COVID. It's life, right? When ups and downs, a sine wave of life, we get to choose, and we got to do. And this is as well as the rest of us. You got to have the capacity to choose. Do your wellness practices, have relationships, have connections, be of service. So when you get that, you open the door in the morning and life punches you in the mouth, it's like, okay, I get to choose to either try and dodge this joker or take it on the forehead and keep on going, or quit my job and do something completely different, hundreds of miles from where I currently live. Which, Joseph Campbell was the quote that you shared: "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." Yeah. And also your story reminds me, and I can't remember for the life of me. He's I believe he's a colonel, and he founded Folds of Honor. And when my best friend, who's a ESPN reporter, was interviewing him, he asked him, he said, "What made you do this?" And he spoke about his faith, and this became a part of his why. And one of the things he said, I'll never forget, is the feeling he got was, go before you're ready. Just go before you're ready, and it'll all work out. It'll all be the way it's supposed to. You'll land where you're supposed to land. And when you're sharing your story, that's what I thought. Right? All right, I'm just going to put this in, and we will see what happens.
Yeah.
But it's a testament to being somebody of action, being a woman of action, being a warrior who takes action and doesn't sit by on the sidelines waiting for something to happen and wondering, well, will it or not, and get stuck in that loop of insecurity and uncertainty.
That was my whole life before, from diagnosis up to PATHH, was being a victim of circumstance. And I'm like, at some point in time, I have to live my life before I, go in the ground. And we need to start now. I'm already losing time.
Well, I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. It's fun to see your badass sister mates on here, supporting you and cheering you on. Also reminding you you're stuck with them. And thank you for sharing your story. I cannot wait to see how things go moving forward as you get on the ground with Camp Southern Ground and their Warrior PATHH program, becoming a PATHH guide down there. I look forward to doing some more work with you and making a difference in this community as we keep going. So if you guys that are watching have any questions, put them in the comment section. I'll follow up, and Jillian is able to follow up as well. And I'll make sure that she gets your questions as well if you want some feedback on something. So we will do this again. It would be maybe my face and a question mark for Coach's Corner here on out, and somebody be who's next for the surprise guest on Coach's Corner. But you set the bar high for it, and I appreciate you hanging out and sharing your story and the work that you put into to live the life you deserve to live with your son, who's temporarily locked out of your room right now.
Temporarily locked out of your room. But thank you. I just want to say thank you very much for choosing me, for having faith in me, for helping me out, getting me on my next path, and for whoever happens to be listening, because I can't see, because I'm doing this on the phone, so I can't see who's on here. Happy Mother's Day to all the the Warrior moms out there, come Sunday, it's about you and celebrating you and everything that you do for everyone in your life. So
that's right. Thank you, Jillian.
All right. Have a great night.
You too.